On September 16th, in a ceremony at the National Park Service Visitor Center in Salem, Massachusetts, the Park Service and the Essex Heritage Area announced a new collaboration. Starting on that day, the Essex Heritage Area will have a designated greeting and display space within the Visitor Center staffed by its employees. Their message to visitors will be that there is a vast area of historic, cultural, and environmental significance in Essex County outside the city of Salem. The Essex National Heritage Area encompasses the 34 cities and towns of Essex County, a 500 square mile region just north of Boston, Massachusetts. The county was officially designated a National Heritage Area by an act of the U.S. Congress in 1996, in recognition of the important role that the county played in American history and the significant heritage resources that still exist in the region today.
And I'm here with Annie Harris, and Annie is the Executive Director of the Essex Heritage. And Annie, tell us about this collaboration between Essex Heritage and the National Park Service and what it does for you and for the organization.
Sure. Well, we've been partners with the National Park Service for many years, but this is a very special collaboration. I believe this is the first time that they've done a new interpretive services agreement, which allows us to open a desk here in the National Park Service Visitor Center. So we're very pleased to be here.
Yes. And now what does that then allow you to do? So before today, what we're seeing in back of us here, this desk with staffed by personnel from Essex Heritage did not exist here, right? So what are you able to do now that you weren't able to do before?
Well, now we can meet and talk to the hundreds of, actually thousands of visitors that come to Salem. As you probably know, Salem gets over 500,000 visitors a year. And one of the most frequent things that visitors say in visitor surveys is, I had no idea there was so much here, I wish I'd planned to stay longer. They come for the witch story and then they realize there's just so much more here. So this allows us to really promote the so much more. And there is. I mean, we deal with the 34 cities and towns of Essex County that are incredibly rich in historical, cultural, and natural resources, and we're just delighted to be able to share those with visitors.
And so tell us just a little bit for folks that aren't aware, what is kind of the mission of the Essex Heritage?
Well, our mission is to preserve and promote historic, cultural, and natural resources of the Essex National Heritage Area, which is also Essex County, which is the North Shore and Lower Merrimack Valley.
Yes. And you are the Executive Director, and how big a staff do you have?
Well, we have altogether with the desk people here, we have 10 people. And we have a large territory, it's 500 square miles. That keeps us very busy going around the county, but we're very pleased to be able to be here and to promote all that there is here.
And now tell us about some of the things that people are likely to see in the Essex Heritage Area. There's museums and there's natural environmental exhibits and so forth. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh yes, well, I don't know where to start. Obviously we have a wonderful coastline, and along the coastline we have 14 towns and beautiful seaports. We have museums in many of those towns. We have fabulous kayaking. Then if you go up to the Merrimack River Valley, you have both the wonderful industrial history in Lawrence and Haverhill, which is a really fascinating history. You can also get out on the Merrimack River. We also have a number of beautiful parks up there, such as Maudsley. So it's a very rich area, and we find that a lot of locals know about it, but not a lot of visitors.
And as you said earlier, people that come up here for the witches in Salem and the witches realize very quickly that there's a lot more to Salem and a lot more to the region than just that. Well, Annie Harris, Executive Director of the Essex Heritage, thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you. Very pleased to be here. When Essex Heritage was established about 17 years ago with a core group of regional leaders, one of the purposes of Essex Heritage was to make sure that people that visit this region started to really understand the much broader stories and the richness of historic, cultural, and natural resources that are throughout Essex County. So that's the purpose here, is to help them when they arrive here to know how much more there is. If they didn't plan to stay long enough, then we want them to come back and to really enjoy the rich culture and amazing resources that we have here.
It's terrific to be in this visitor center and to think about the partnerships going forward that's going to be created here. all of you know how important tourism is to Salem and frankly to the North Shore region, and being able to have this visitor center, which started several years ago as a relationship with the National Park Service, the city, and the Peabody Essex Museum, to be here today to see how we're still enlivening those partnerships and making it even a better place for visitors to begin their tour in Salem or stop in, even if it's just to catch the movie or use the restrooms. All important amenities for visitors is even more special. It's an important part of our economy. It's an important part of our story. And what's terrific about having Essex Heritage now a partner in this effort is they're so good at telling the stories, not just of Salem, but of our entire North Shore, weaving together this amazing history of the place that we're all fortunate enough to call home. So I'm certainly glad to be here today. I want to thank the Park Service for all that they have done and continue to do in Salem. It's not that long ago these doors were shut for a brief period of time during the government shutdown. We stood on the steps and saw thousands of people beginning their trip here. And the fact that we have this partnership and things like that hopefully won't happen going forward. And even if they do, we've got some backup places to rely on. I think that speaks to not only what Salem has to offer, the way we come together, but most importantly, the fact that we're committed to making sure the important part of our history continues on. And great to be here this morning. Thank you, Annie and Michael, for all you're doing to make Salem a special place, but really to enliven our whole region.
And I'm here with Michael Quijano West. Did I say that right, Michael?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
And Michael, you are the superintendent of the National Park Service here in this area. Tell us exactly what your title is and what you do.
Yes, I'm the superintendent of Salem Maritime National Historic Site. This is our visitor center here.
Okay.
And also Saugus Ironworks National Historic Site.
Okay. And now how long has the visitor center been here in Salem?
Almost 40 years now.
Wow. Yes. And now this morning marks the beginning of a collaboration between the Visitor Center here run by the Park Service and Essex Heritage, which behind us there is their new booth. So tell us how that collaboration will impact what you do here.
Well, Essex Heritage is joining us now here in the operation of the Visitor Center to provide extra tours and information to all the public that come to visit Salem.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Now, I read in the paper that this center gets something in the neighborhood of 350,000 visitors a year. Is that right?
That approximately, yes.
Yeah.
How the numbers are gotten are a little confusing sometimes, but yes, that's a good estimate.
So that roughly comes out to almost 1,000 visitors a day. So that's quite a load that you have to serve.
Yes, absolutely. The numbers are very tilted towards, of course, October.
Mm-hmm, sure.
October is a big time of year. We get about 100,000 visitors just during that time period.
Mm-hmm. And tell us a little bit about what you have here in the visitor center. I know it's a lot more than just a few brochures. It's a large center, and I know you have some interpretive exhibits and things like that. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. So this is a general information area where people come to answer their questions and get information about what there is to see and do here in Salem, about both of our national park units as well as all the surrounding areas. The Visitor Center has also served to give information about Essex Heritage Area, but we never had a physical presence from the Heritage Area. So this marks a new time for us, and we're delighted to have them here. This is very good for the whole area, all of Essex County, for our visitors to be able to come and get information not only about our park units, but also about everything that there is to do within Essex County.
Wow, wonderful. Well, Michael, thank you very much for joining us and telling us a little bit about the Visitor Center.
Thank you very much, and have a great day. Essex Heritage is one of the 49 national heritage areas in the United States, and one of the 5 that are here in Massachusetts. And the heritage areas help us to celebrate our nation's history, heritage, and environment by promoting and inviting recreation, in addition to educating our youth. And they also help by creating an economic impact to the tune of $12.9 billion annually.
And I'm here with Beth Berenger, who is with the Visitor Center. And tell us, Beth, what exactly do you do here at the Visitor Center?
So I am the education coordinator for Essex Heritage, and we now have a presence here at the Visitor Center. And we're standing in front of actually an exhibit that Essex Heritage was involved with helping to kind of make happen. This was an exhibit that was created by a group of high school students, English language learning high school students in Salem. They did a summer enrichment program that was spearheaded by Salem State University, and Essex Heritage was involved as well. We helped the students go to sites within the community, and as they were developing literacy skills, they were also learning about their community. And we had them create this exhibit and other products to showcase their learning, so that they could share it with the larger Salem and regional community. So that's what we're standing in front of now.
Right. And now, is this something that I know typically when visitors come into a visitor center, they kind of grab a brochure and then they're back on the highway. But tell us a little bit about what the idea is behind these kind of interpretive and these kinds of exhibits that we're seeing here behind us.
Well, from our point of view, it was a chance for the students to showcase what they find interesting about their city and the region, and then to communicate that to people who might be new to the area. So you can see that part of the exhibit is actually quite interactive. And the last panel, you're asked to actually write some things down about what you like about Salem, but you can also kind of learn as you go through these panels. It's asking you to make connections between the past and the present, and it's just visually interesting for you to look at.
A wonderful exhibit. Well, Beth Berenger, thank you very much for joining us, and it's a wonderful party here this morning to commemorate the joint project here with the Essex Heritage and the Visitor Center. Thank you.
Oh, you're quite welcome.
And I'm here with Josh Bassaches, who is with the Peabody Essex Museum, which is just across the street from the Visitor Center. So, Josh, tell us a little bit about the relationship that the Peabody Essex Museum has with the Visitor Center here.
Well, as Walt mentioned, I'm Deputy Director of the museum, and we are, of course, very, very committed to issues of tourism and visitorship and information for all folks who make their way here to Salem and the region. We are, with the Park Service, co-owners of this building, and so we're really delighted to be welcoming Essex Heritage here to the Visitor Center, and they do excellent work, and we know that they will add to the experience of visitors here to the city and the region. The Peabody Essex Museum has been going through a major period of transformation, and our attendance has been growing year by year. And so this year we're expecting as many as about 300,000 visitors. And some of them come intentionally to see, the museum as their first destination. Others come to Salem or the region and want to know what's here. And so having Essex Heritage here to share all the wonders of cultural heritage, of artistic heritage with the public when they make it here will make a big difference to the museum.
And Josh, how long has the Peabody Essex Museum been in existence here in Salem?
Well, the museum was founded in 1799. We are both the oldest museum in Salem, but also, frankly, the oldest continuously operating museum in the country. So over our 215 years, we have had a great commitment to Salem, to the region, and to the visitors to the region.
And I understand that you get visitors that come from all over the globe to visit the museum, don't you?
That's correct. That we have, of course, in the museum, because it was founded by sea captains who were going to Asia, to Hawaii, to India, to other parts of the world, we have extraordinary collections that represent much of that original global commerce. And so we have visitors who are coming from Japan and China and Korea and India and other parts of South Asia or Oceania, as well as, of course, from Boston and the region and the country.
Well, Josh, thank you very much, and good luck and a good future. I know that, as you said, the museum has undergone a lot of renovation and change in the last few years, and it's all for the better, I'm sure.
It is, and we're excited to be part of everything that's happening here in Salem.
Thank you very much, Josh.
Now, of course, Essex Heritage does an excellent job in everything that they do, and so we know that they will bring tremendous skill, information, savoir-faire, insight to our visitors here. And so it is so crucial to have wonderful visitor information here and to give the highest quality visitor information. And so we just want to join with everybody else, with our partners here in the city, to say, hurrah, we're delighted to have you here, Essex Heritage, fulfilling this wonderful service.
And I'm here with Kate Fox, who
who is with Destination Salem. Kate, wonderful little party we're having this morning.
It is. Welcome to Salem. Welcome to the Salem Regional Visitor Center.
Well, thank you very much. Well, tell us, for our viewers who are not familiar with Destination Salem, tell us what is Destination Salem and what is your mission?
Sure. In industry lingo, we are a DMO, which means we're a destination marketing organization. We are a public-private partnership in the city of Salem, and we've existed since 1998 to market and promote Salem to visitors and tourists from around the world.
Mm-hmm. And what sort of a relationship do you have with the Visitor Center here and with the National Park Service?
We have a wonderful relationship with the National Park Service as well as with the Essex National Heritage Commission. We are partners with the National Park Service. We rely on them as the Visitor Center and the gateway to people coming in to Salem. They're open 7 days a week. They provide the gold standard for interpretation and visitor information. They have clean restrooms. Very important.
Very important.
When you're coming in off 128, you need clean restrooms, especially with kids. They're located centrally in the middle of downtown. Yeah. And they give maps and information. They distribute our visitors' guides and the guides to haunted happenings. So we really rely heavily on the National Park Service Visitor Center and think it's a great thing to have the Essex National Heritage Commission here with an information booth to help interpret the entire region.
Well, that's wonderful. And you are a nonprofit, and how long have you been around?
We are a nonprofit. Destination Salem has had several different versions and iterations. I've been here since 1998 and left for a bit. I went and worked for the Essex National Heritage Commission for 5 years. So I've been on both sides, and then I came back to Destination Salem in 2007.
Oh, wonderful. Well, Kate Fox from Destination Salem, thank you for speaking with us this morning.
Thanks so much. Nice to talk to you.
So this desk has a lot of information. We are fortunate, after working with Comcast for many weeks, to finally get internet access, and we have pictures up here. We will also be able to display live maps and events to help tourists navigate around the region. We have all this information here, and we have two great visitor services people, Catherine Rakowski and Ryan McMahon. And we are very fortunate. They are actually have been working for the Park Service as seasonal interpreters for the last several years, so they come well trained. And they also, both through that experience, but also personally love this resource. The resources here, are really interested. They've been out and about already visiting some of the other visitor centers around here, so we're very lucky to have them. And one of the other things that we can do with this desk here is we work with 11 other visitor centers around the region, both the Salisbury Visitor Center on Route 95, but also visitor centers in Gloucester and Haverhill and Lawrence and Lynn and Marblehead and Rockport and Peabody and Ipswich. And they give out a lot of information about the resources in the region. And now that we can give out from this spot information about them and their communities and their regions. So we're very pleased to be able to do that. Increasingly, as they can bring their brochures here, we can give those out, and we can also post their events here. So that's very exciting to be able to do.
And I'm here with Jack Good, and Jack is a fellow Rotarian with me, but Jack is also the president of the Essex National Heritage Area. Jack, a nice event this morning, huh?
Great event, and the numbers look great, people coming out to see us, and this is the kind of opportunity we wanted because in the past we've had a fourth floor office down the street and no visibility whatsoever in being able to promote the kinds of things that we do on a regular basis. So this provided us a high visible area that I think will work well for us in being able to promote not only what we do with Essex National Heritage, but the region as a whole.
Yeah. Now tell us a little bit about Essex Heritage. A lot of people do not realize the comprehensiveness of the kinds of exhibits and the centers and museums and conservation areas. Tell us a little bit more about that, Jack.
Sure. The opportunity that Essex National Heritage presents for the entire county of Essex is to in fact provide a forum and an opportunity for further exhibit space and exposure that didn't exist before, and we are allowed to work with and for the other museums and historical places, and I think as a result we in fact have an ability to promote the entire region.
Mm-hmm. Now, how many unique, I was surprised when I heard these numbers, how many unique individual points of interest or projects are related to the Essex Heritage Area?
Oh, there are hundreds as a whole, but one of the things that we're working on, obviously, is a bike route that takes people from down in the southern area of our region, down in Saugus, and takes us to a place where we will, in fact, intersect with the almost New Hampshire border. And within that geographic area, there are probably better than 50 different points just along that route structure that would obviously benefit from the promotion that we're able to provide.
Wow. So if people start here in Salem, it's not just Which City. There's a lot of rich cultural and historic things to see and do.
Right. Well, I live in the community of Essex, and in the community of Essex, obviously, there's a great deal there with the shipbuilding industry, and our kids grew up having Essex Shipbuilder Days as part of the elementary school, an opportunity to get exposed to it. The kids sang sea chanties, they saw how boats were made, and they had a chance to obviously enjoy a great deal of what the culture and the history of what our community is. And that takes place almost in every community in the North Shore.
Well said, Jack. Well, Jack, thank you for joining us this morning. Jack Good, the president of Essex Heritage. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Walter.
So in closing, this just is a wonderful opportunity to talk about the region, to help people find what's here, and for all of you that represent sites, resources, visitor centers, communities, to have another outlet for your materials. So thank you so much for coming.